So, okay. So we'll go directly to the book. Chairman, kindly share the book. Who else has the book up? No, 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 no. Chairman
Doc,
is sharing it. So
but Dr. Eda has maybe, you can read the first part, or I can read the first part.
yes, please read the first part.
Okay, I want to read uh, from my book, Leadership is Service. I am reminded of a story I once read a long time ago that in the days of the renowned American Revolution, a certain man arrived at a particular bridge riding on a horse. As he passed a group of soldiers who were doing some repairs, he was astonished that their leader was simply shouting more and more orders at the tired looking soldiers who were diligently carrying out the task. This rider was moved and could not resist asking the leader why he could not go and help them, instead of just sitting and ordering. Sir, he responded, I am the corporal. The rider apologized, dismounted his horse, and went to assist the soldiers. At the end of the assignment, the man returned to the corporal and said, Mr. Corporal, sir, next time you have a job like this and not enough men to do it, go to your commander-in-chief and I will come and help you again. The commander-in-chief, who dismounted to assist in the repair work uh, this day, was none other than George Washington. He displayed a true spirit of servant leadership. This spirit has a tendency to win the admiration, loyalty, and goodwill of followers. Back in school, the very first teacher to taught me in school about leadership, Mr. Olela Philip, taught us that as leaders, or officials as many called us, we had to lead by example. Example meant that we would not, uh, we were not to be people who only give instructions, but rather people who work together on the assignments with the people we led. This was quite a move. It's important to know, if you haven't yet at this point, that pupils who study in the countryside take part in keeping the school clean. This includes keeping the live fences tidy, the classrooms and toilets, among others. The officials help in enforcing the rules and regulations of the school. Traditionally, students playing such roles are considered by others to be like police officers and therefore do not enjoy very warm relationship with the rest of the students. However, how can you be friendly with one who will not hesitate to report you to the teachers on duty when you misbehave? Not easy. But this trick would always work. Being part of the people and doing assignment with them. If we were, in the working on the compound, for example, pick rubbish around the school compound, we did it all together. It is quite fulfilling, at least to me, to be known to be doing the same thing that the people I lead considered me too senior to do. Just as George Washington did in the story related previously, more so when you are known by the others and being seen doing it. I enjoyed it, and the people I worked with never gave me trouble. I still thank Mr. Lela for such an insight. It was a great step towards working with people as a leader, towards making a symphony orchestra. If you are not ready to get dirty, do not become a leader. A leader who only wants to be seen at the top and not joining people in the battlefield, not lending hand in the trenches, is out of touch with the people and shall not be happy in the long run. No story to tell, no inspiration. Walk among your people and mix freely. It will improve your credibility a notch higher. You will be able to influence more and win more souls to your cause. Your orchestra will be successful. Your orchestra will be of great taste and branding. This is what worked for people like Alexander the Great. He was always at the forefront of the battle and led from the front. People like the biblical David, who is considered to have been the greatest of the kings who ever ruled Israel. All great leaders follow this path. Anything else is fake and ordinary. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King.
Okay, Dr. Eda, kindly read for us responsibility.
Responsibility. I have experienced something interesting in our neighborhood. It is an estate that was largely constructed by a government agency, and then the units were bought by individuals and corporations, among others. The developer had recouped back all the loans advanced and chose to call it quits, leaving the estate in a state of disarray. Since we owned the biggest privately developed building within the area, the proper management of this estate meant a lot to us despite having our own property managers. If this estate was mismanaged, the value of the property would be affected. Everyone desires a cleaner, safer neighborhood. So we had to find a way to ensure all interrupted services were restored within the shortest possible time. We called the reigning estate chair, whose leadership was full of opposing camps, for a private discussion. We were very concerned at the slow movement of processes and a series of bad decisions being made. It was only in order that we intervene. The price of greatness is responsibility. When she came together with one of her members, all had a lengthy discussion and gave these suggestions on what we thought ought to be done urgently in order to restore order. We noticed quite some leadership gaps. One of my team members, a strategist by profession, commented after they left, the leadership is very weak. That is the problem. As for me, if I am the leader, I've got to be in charge. That is it. A leader must take charge and own up to the mistakes made. Responsibility is the very definition of leadership. The leader of the orchestra is that person who has gladly taken the responsibility for his growth and development. Leadership is about growth, not maintenance. If you are leading and no growth is realized, you are not a leader. That was exactly the situation in that estate. The lady had been in leadership for over 5 years, but the estate was more split than ever, with different camps pledging loyalty to different leaderships. Thus, decision-making was very difficult as others tried to fill the gap by stepping in to put order. You will always spot leaders by their sense of responsibility, taking up roles and ensuring things go on right. Leadership has nothing to do with an office space or title. It has nothing to do with assigned tasks or job descriptions. Effective leaders have this sense of responsibility in their very blood, within their own identity. that things should work and someone needs to take responsibility. Taking responsibility does not end with participating in an event and ensuring its success. It also has to include acknowledging when things go sour and acceptance of blame, owning up to the failure. This is where true leadership is tricky. Take note. Leaders do not seek recognition, but they earn it. Champions of fame and recognition are hardly leaders. Again, leaders are not busybodies who are always restless and not composed. I see all sorts of people in leadership positions. A type who will do everything to look busy and active. Activity and progress are two different things. Furthermore, a true leader delegates to others certain duties, not doing it all alone. Blowing the horn, playing the guitar, drumming, conducting, etc. If you do things alone, then that is not an orchestra. You cannot do everything in a symphony orchestra. You cannot be everything in an organization. Let there be participation from every member. If they cannot be part of what is taking place, then it means that you do not need them. Being responsible does not mean you run a one-man show. This is quite a common phenomenon in many organizations, clubs, or even choral groups. One of the ways leaders can and will get tired and worked out is when they try to do everything in order to look efficient or responsible. You get into a symphony and you cannot figure out whether the guy is the chair, the technical director, the secretary, or the proprietor. It soon works against the leader. Responsibility or taking charge should not be misconstrued to mean being everything. It means you know whom to blame when things go wrong. You. That's correct. Guess who is right when things are going well? Not you, it's them. Now you know. Again, the fact that you take responsibility does not mean others are locked out of participation or that you take all the credit when things go right. It means ensuring things work through interrelation, interaction, and coordination. But you take responsibility of the results. I often see many wannabe leaders taking pride when things go right, when the orchestra performance is great and amazing. But shifting blame when things turn ugly, looking for someone else to blame. Just like the one who takes pride when he or she has a beautiful house, but blaming someone else if the house is horrible, it does not make sense. Leaders are builders, so to speak, always building a house or an organization, building people, teams, legacies, and solutions. If you are in charge of a construction, it is only logical that you take the blame for any defect in the building as much as you take pride in what has been done right. Most people in leadership positions will not do this. They will look for a junior, staff, a supplier, or someone else to accuse should there be a fault. That shows leadership inadequacy. Here is what we hardly know as leaders. The moment we take full responsibility when things go haywire, we win even more influence from the people we lead, and they are more than willing to keep walking and working with us in the mission. However, if we shift blame, we crucify our integrity and indirectly throw away the goodwill we had from our team. The team members get discouraged and quit, at least mentally, sometimes literally, never to be productive again. Let us take blame. It is part of taking responsibility.
Thank you so
Oh,
much. Thank you so
what
much.
page are we on, please?
Sorry?
What page?
Page 77.
Thank you.
Okay, karibu sana. So guys, I want to pick your mind on the script that we have read today. And I am going to start with Melvin. Melvin, are you there? Okay, if he's not there, we can
No,
go
I'm
to
here.
Rose.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what struck me is that the apportioning when the venture is successful, the leader seems to take all the credit, and when things have gone haywire, it is, I think, normal for us to look for somebody to blame other than ourselves. Um, and I see this in a lot of uh, in a lot of organizations, and maybe that's my default setting as well. That when things are going well, I take credit, and when things are going haywire, I start blaming somebody else. In fact, I was having a conversation with OPP at the beginning of this session, and I think that sort of came out in my talk with him, because it's the words that we use that reflect what is our leadership style. So that was important for me. Another one was George Washington getting off his horse to help those men because the corporal was in charge at that particular moment. And we must allow others to take charge of a given situation, even if you're their overall supervisor, because you may not know anything about that particular area. So that's my take
Okay,
from the reading.
okay, sorry. Thank you so much, Melvin. Rosemary, I'd really love to know your mind about the script that you have read. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you very much for the script that you have and welcoming me in this first session today. From the script, I've just seen that integrity also as a leader has actually come up strongly, and it actually makes sense that when you're a leader, actually, you don't just sit there and not make yourself dirty. You go like a bossy, commanding leader. That will not help in organization. I've just realized go in there, just get dirty with the team, and then it will actually mold you and make you a better leader. Also, on top of the integrity, I've just seen that it also combines and actually makes you to be on the same side on what you want the organization to be. Why am I saying this? Because on the other side, when you say that the organization has made where it is or whatever Melvin has just said, it not only just touches on what makes you great, but what makes you to build the team that you want to be. Don't make yourself, it also gives you the succession that you need. Whom are you leaving behind so that whatever you're doing, the honesty and whatever you're doing will actually make somebody who is in the team to be or to and dare to step in your shoe that you make. They will actually be eager to see, can I be like a leader that I'm seeing? Will be an example that will make other people want to look upon you. I want to be in her shoe. I want to take leadership. I want to be like the way she does her leadership styles. And that actually has struck me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Immaculate. Immaculate, are you able to tell us what your pick out on the script that you have read today?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. What I've learned is that a leader should encourage teamwork, and you should be the lead, yes, and encourage everyone to show his or her strength in everything that they do. Can just continue engaging. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. As you're reading this script, the picture that is in my mind, I am very pictorial, and the picture that is in my mind is the picture of Jesus and his disciples. And now Jesus is washing his disciples' feet, and one disciple says, "Oh, you cannot wash my feet," and everything. And Jesus now gives them an example of a leader. You see, there's a difference between a boss and a leader. A leader shows you what to do and does it with you. But a boss will tell you, do this, do that, do that. So we are not here to be bosses. We are here to be leaders. And you see, a leader leads by example. You're doing this thing, you get dirty with your team, because at the end of the day, you realize that at the end of it all, it is about teamwork. It's not about the other people and not you. It's about all you people put together. And then at the end of the day, then you're going to check the results that have come because of the teamwork that you have done. Otieno Paul Peter, on to you. While you're writing this book, I just want to know, I know you're a great leader, and you train people on leadership and everything. And I am very sure it's a loophole that you saw, that you decided, I need to address these things. So just tell us, when you're writing this book, what was on your mind? What were you thinking? This particular script that you have read.
You see, throughout my life, I've been a student of leadership, and I realized that many people do not like to take responsibility. We want things done. We want to see things good, and then we celebrate. But if something is wrong, we always look for somebody else we want to blame. And that is exactly what is happening even in our country today. We are people who love blaming. And by the way, along the way, I was taught that 3 C's we need to avoid. And one is condemning, then complaining, and criticizing. And for some reason, these things bring in bad vibes in our hearts. And so we cannot move on. And that's why we had, going to the Bible, we had the Israelites perishing in the desert because they were always complaining. And somebody says, even the Almighty God cannot keep up with people who complain. And that's why most people, even when they are praying for things, they don't get them because their frequency is that of blame. It's negative energy. And so the question is, while it's true that everyone should aspire to be a leader and should be a leader, because from the very definition we talked about, you start by leading yourself and leadership being influence, it means that if we had everyone becoming a leader, then the society would be much better. Because instead of looking for somebody else to blame, I know whom to blame, and that's me. And so we must, what was in my mind is, can we make more leaders? I've always said that the world today needs more great leaders than great preachers. We can have great preachers, but if they are not leaders, then things just go wrong still. We have enough experts, we have enough technocrats and all these other people. I think what people lack, what the society lacks today, are great leaders who will take responsibility. Today we see it in government. The same people who formed the government at the beginning of Jubilee, and now one wants to take credit for the goods that took place and blame somebody else for what didn't take place, the wrong that is happening. And that is not leadership, and that tells us what's going to happen ahead of us as well. And so it's good to note that if we don't take responsibility, then it means we are not leaders. A leader, you do not need an office. And this is very important. We do not need to be given some title. And that's why somebody wrote a book, Leader Without a Title. We do not need a title in order to be called leaders or in order to take leadership. And for a long time, personally, I love leading from behind. Most times, I even like letting other people take the official positions or leadership positions, but then I still provide leadership from behind. Because if you've become a leader, there is no way you let things crumble unless you just have there is no possibility, you are barred from taking responsibility. So most times, for the sake of peace, you can allow things to roll down, hoping that things are going to change at some point. But a leader must be this person who takes responsibility. Without responsibility, there is nothing that takes place. And this is why you cannot say that that is not my area, that is not my whatever. No, no, no. You've got to take responsibility. It doesn't have to be an office thing. You do not have to take a leadership role, but whoever you are, wherever you are, at that very point, you take responsibility. Let me give a good example. When I was working with Africa Online long time ago, and I say long, like it's 50 years ago, it's just over 10 years ago, yeah? And I would be left. I was doing customer support. Occasionally, I would be doing night shift. And you are given instructions not to reconnect any account that has been disconnected because it's not your responsibility. That is the responsibility of the people we call CRM, customer relations management. But when somebody calls you in the middle of the night that they are not able to browse and you are checking everything is fine, and then you realize they were disconnected, but these are people who had paid, I take responsibility on behalf of my organization, and I say, if there is going to be a problem, I will be the one to be blamed. Let them address me. But for now, in my mind, in my conscience, I know this person is right. Everything is there is no need to punish him. I take responsibility and go ahead and reconnect. The same thing used to happen when we were growing up with my siblings. If something happens and they want some permission or something like that, I tell them just go ahead and do it, and then say it's me who did it, so that whoever wants to blame you can come and blame me. Yeah, so I take that responsibility, and I learned it influences more when you take responsibility. You are not a leader if you are not influencing. The other thing, service. If you are not serving people, then you are not a leader. You are not their leader. Many people go to leadership because of the perk, because of the merits that might come. Maybe you have some free parking, maybe you have some good office, whatever, all those things. And I used to see it much, by the way, even in our college, in the university. People want to become students leaders because there will be some allowance, there will be a bigger room than for the rest of the people, and such like things. But let me tell you, that doesn't make you a leader. And that's why most times we have problems with leadership, because most of these people come from the university, and what they learned about leadership was the big perks of that accompany leadership. And so they go for them. I remember when I was at one point in the university, when I was in first year, going to second year, I was pushed by my friends to become the second year representative. And by the way, I accepted, they put my name there, and I went unopposed, fortunately or otherwise. That's the second time I was being elected unopposed in my life for not vying, by the way, because in class 6, in another school, I was also my name was put there and was elected. I did not even know that people always vote, that is the way to elect leaders, because I knew from the school where I was before that it was the teachers who choose people. Now, the following year, I was to be the Secretary General for our campus. Well, I do not know how to campaign. So they would call me, I walk along with the guys who wanted to be chairman, organizing secretary. So I go there, and somebody would ask me. In fact, I was asked this many times. I don't think you can embezzle funds. We want people who can embezzle funds. Yeah, that was very funny. That I need to be somebody who can embezzle funds, who can organize. We used to call them jackpots. Organize jackpot and drain money from the university for whichever reason, and that sounded really weird. Uh, Long story short, I didn't qualify. There is somebody else who went ahead and beat me, not because he campaigned, but because that's the way it was designed. They planted people and rigged me out. All that managed to beat me by 4 votes. And I realized, if you are not willing to serve, you do not have what it takes to be a leader. And that's why I love the example you're giving, and I always use it. That one of Jesus and his disciples. He told them, this is the formula to being great: serve others. If you want to be the greatest, be the one who serves the most. And even in business, if you are in business, I always say this, that if you help enough people get what they want, you get everything you want. That is a quote from Zig Ziglar. You help enough people, meaning you're serving them. You must be of service. If you are going to be great, you must be the one serving the largest number of people. That is the greatest person. That means you're offering value to people. You're making people better. And as we've said there, a leader is a builder. You are building a house, you're building an organization, you're building people. There is no way you're going to build an organization without building people. So you must be building people in order to build an organization. And this is where many of us can get it wrong. Sometimes when we've picked people from various fields and we are putting them together, building a team, we think that's enough. And Immaculate has just said it. Putting people in the right place, yeah? There is this misconception of something to do with fairness. You know, if somebody is short, there is just a place he can play, for example, in the volleyball. Yeah, you cannot place everybody everywhere. You check what is best for them, place them there and allow them to grow and build them, grant them whatever they require in order to grow and become better. There is always insecurity in this for some leaders. They feel like, what if they become more capable and now they can replace me? If you've built somebody, they will never ever discredit you. I've learned that, and that's why we don't discredit our teachers. They built us. We are now perhaps more successful than most of our teachers, but we still respect them. We still remember them. We still quote them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman. One of the programs that we do in the organizations that I run is a program for women who have had abortions. And there's a topic where, there's a chapter called Relief and Denial, where after a lady has had an abortion, most of them deny. And some of the terms they use to deny is maybe, I didn't kill a baby, it was just a blob of tissue. So many things that we are lied to anyway. So in the chapter of relief and denial, we give them a pie chart. They have to draw a pie chart, and then they have to apportion everyone they feel that was responsible for them making the decision of having an abortion. And number one, they're not supposed to give themselves the whole pie chart. Number two, they're not supposed to exclude themselves, because remember, at the end of the day, you are a leader. You are the leader of your life. When we started this book, we said that leadership starts with I. I have to lead myself before going to lead other people. So we tell them, to drawing this pie chart, you have to apportion yourself a part of it. And you cannot apportion yourself the least of it, because at the end of it all, number one, you are the only one who was in a position to make a decision not to have an abortion. Because you see, other people are going to advise you, oh, if you do this, oh, if you do that. But at the end of the day, it narrows down to you as a person. You see, what did you decide to do? And then number two, we have to go back, and then you realize that it started first of all by you. This person did not shape you, like you went and willingly had sex. So that is where it all started. So why am I telling you this, you people, this? Is because I'm bringing us back to that place of leadership starts with I. You see, you cannot lead other people before leading yourself. And that is why there's the responsibility part in this book. So you have to first of all take responsibility of your own life. I cannot take responsibility of the organization that I'm leading if I'm not taking first of all responsibility of my life. I have to lead me first of all before I lead other people. So guys, I'm going to start with Brenda. We have like 9 minutes left. I'm going to start with Brenda. Brenda, I just want you to tell us, what are the ways what is it that you're doing to enhance leadership in your own life, to take responsibility of you? Because leaders are builders. You cannot build someone else's house before you build your own house. I had a friend who was a contractor, and there's a day he told me, he sat down and he thought, how am I building other people's houses and I've not yet built my own house? So we have to build our own houses first before we go and build other people's houses. So what is this thing that you're doing in order to take responsibility and to build your own house, to build your own life as a leader? Brenda.
Hi, thanks. Okay, about the leadership, one thing that is very true is that you have to get into the battlefield yourself. And I saw this with my business, whereby last year when I had to shut down, then start all over again, I had to be the one who was doing the cooking. But in the process of doing that, I learned so much that helped me create more efficient systems and more efficient structures and to understand the business better. So that right now, when I got in my team, I was able to give them better tools. I understood their pain points. I understood what I was able to see it from a very different point of view. So that really helped to create a more efficient system and structure. So yes, going into the battlefield yourself, not only does it show that you're together with the team, but it also helps you make good strategic decisions that can help your organization. Because sometimes when you're out there, when you're not there, you don't understand the pain point that they're doing. And can something as simple as this kind of soap, like I'm in cooking, so the kind of soap that that someone needs. I mean, what kind of soap would you need in a heavy commercial kitchen? It's not the same soap that you'd use in a domestic house. So it taught me a lot, and yes, we should get there. It's actually very simple things, but they help and they create a lot of efficiency. Thanks.
Karibu sana, Brenda. I remember when I came to Pearls and Treasures as a volunteer, and it's not like I had so much responsibility. You see, I came as a volunteer and then a counselor, and then, well, in all this, I became a staff who would counsel, do accounts and everything, who would do so many things. But now that I'm leading the organization, I realized that, wow, it is such a different level altogether. There are times I come to this office at 7 a.m. and leave the office at 7 p.m. Why? Because of responsibility. You see, the founder of the organization, is like she handed me over the organization now to lead it. Like, you do this, you seek God, know the vision, know what he wants to do, and then run with it. You get me? So what I'm doing right now compared to what I was doing when I came as a volunteer are two different things. Why? Because leadership is responsibility. Remember, right now, I have staff who are watching me, who I am leading, who I am not just leading, but leading by example. You see, I have to make decisions. There are programs that start, I have to think and know who is the best person fit to run this thing. You see, I can't just take anyone and let them do this. You get me? And there are times I am stuck. I'm like, now what do I do? It is called responsibility. So as a leader, you have to take responsibility. Otieno Paul Peter, on to you. OPP.
I want to relate also when I started running a network marketing business and things were not running for me. I attended a talk and a leader said, "Is it working for others?" Yes. Then you are the problem. Now, I checked, my team wasn't doing much, and I realized that I have to do something. If I don't, then I have myself to blame. So I went and learned a lot about business. Most of my business life has been learned in the streets. I realized I don't know how to sell. I went looked for a book. I got another book which I still remember. It was called the making of Secrets of Great Rainmakers. And I loved the title. So I read it and I got excited and then read another one and read another one and started practicing. And I prayed to God at some point that I want to see all the problems that my team members will be able to see. So that when they come to me, I will have practical solutions and practical examples to give. and somewhat I got it. I met all sorts of things. I had a welcoming spirit to problems, and somewhat uh, every time somebody came to me with something, I had met it before, and I was able to advise in a way that will be able to help. That is taking responsibility. When our organizations are doing badly, it is not our juniors, it is not our employees or our staff, it is not our colleagues. If I am at the driver's seat, if the vehicle is going out of the road, it is not the conductor, it is me. I'm the one to make decision. And just like you said, Noel, that the girl who chooses to go and get rid of the baby from the womb, she has taken full responsibility. She can blame anybody else, but by the end of the day, consented towards it. And this is why we say it doesn't matter what people advise you. By the end of the day, you take a decision and the decision becomes of your own. I was taught this also when I was growing up, that my uncle used to say, you know, us, we can only give you advice. We can only advise you, but let every decision that you make become yours, your own. And that became very empowering. And to date, anything that happened in my life or that happens in my life, I don't blame anybody. And that is the beginning of progress. If you fail, he asked me at one point when I uh, had done Form 4 exams, I had passed. And so he asked me, what made you pass? I started explaining how I was responsible for that passing, which was good. And he acknowledged. Then he told me, no, no, not absolutely. It's God. So we also apportion credit to God. But the big news there is, at one point I asked a friend, do you take responsibility for everything that happens in your life? And then she says no. And then I asked, how about the successes in your life? And she said yes. So you want to take responsibility for the successes and not for the failures. And that made sense. And I think I was telling somebody this last week, that I was reading another book called The Roadmap to Success. And reading it, reaching another page, it said, up to now, you've been absolutely responsible about everything happening in your life. If you don't agree with this, don't move on. Drop this book, stop reading. And I took time reflecting. Then I said, I take full responsibility. And then we moved on. I moved on. So
Okay.
today it is responsibility and service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Thank you so much for that. There's a scripture that says that strike the shepherd and the sheep will disperse. You see, at the end of the day, you can also put it as strike the leadership, strike the leadership, and the rest of the team will do what will disperse, because the shepherd is the one who leads the sheep. You get me? So at the end of the day, you see, guys, leadership is everything. And leadership starts by you. You cannot lead other people before you lead you cannot lead other people before you lead yourself. Take responsibility of your actions. Take full responsibility of your actions and of everything that you do. So guys, I beg to stop there. And just to remind you, we meet every Monday from 7:30 a.m. But you can definitely log in earlier. You can log in at 7. But by the way, by 7, then you need Otieno Paul Peter is on. So you can log in early for networking purposes and just knowing each other. So we start by reading the book, and then after reading the book, making of a symphony orchestra, we then go to discussions every Monday, 7:30 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. Thank you for joining us. And I will ask Dr. Eda to kindly pray for us.